Sweet, warm greetings to everyone. I'm so glad that you've joined me here on the Menopause Success Mastery class. And we're going to spend about the next hour just diving into menopause, into the wise woman journey and the wise woman within you. And so, what I'd like to do first is just sort of settle in. I want you to find a nice, comfortable position to be in. I like to sit on my chair here with my feet touching the ground so I can feel grounded. If you are inclined with any type of essential oils and you have any of them near you, grab those and pick an oil that you really like. You can put a drop of it in the palm of your hand. I'm actually going to use coriander seed today because coriander seed is really great for dispelling any fears or nervousness. So I'm going to enjoy that. I'm just going to rub this between my hands and take a nice deep breath. If you don't have an oil, just sort of ground in. Notice where your tailbone is as you're sitting. If you have your back leaning against the chair or sofa, just notice how that feels in that space. Feel your feet planted on the ground. Close your eyes gently. And take a few nice deep breaths. We're going to acknowledge the space around us. We're going to acknowledge the space to either side of us, how expansive that space is. We're going to acknowledge the space above us and below us. And feel yourself just suspended in that space. Just you and all of your uniqueness. And taking a nice deep breath, feeling the lungs expand in all of those directions, forwards and backwards, sideways, up and down. Filling your lungs. And with the next inhale, imagine filling that womb space in the pelvis. Fill your pelvic bowl with that deep, deep breath. And letting it go. And again, filling the breath deep down into the pelvis. And then letting it go. And now I want you to imagine a cord, a silken cord from your tailbone reaching down into the earth. Reaching deep into Mother Earth. Making that connection to the one mother. And then I want you to imagine that Earth Mother energy coming back up through that cord and filling that pelvic bowl, filling that space within you with all of the wisdom and all of the knowing and all of the perfect balance of Mother Earth. And breathe into that. Breathe into all of the possibilities of all of the seasons that earth gives us. We have a spring, we have a fall, a summer, we have a fall, and we have a winter. And feel into that beautiful cycle of nature. And imagine yourself as part of that cycle. From the seed to the sprout, to the maiden, to the mother, and to the crone. And let's just take a few more breaths as we honor the cycle and we honor the earth and we honor the mother within us, Mother Earth. When you're ready, just gently open your eyes and become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of who you are and where you are. And we'll begin our discovery there. I'm so glad you're all here. And those of you who have signed up and who aren't here, I will welcome you with a recording and an email later this evening. So I'm going to do a little screen share so I can pull up my presentation. There we go. And I'll pull that into slideshow mode. Okay. Menopause Success Mastery. I've sort of taglined it about reclaiming your vibrancy. And my book, Aromatherapy for Menopause Success, also has that same line of reclaiming your vibrancy. I am the founder of Menopause Success and Creative Wise Woman, I guess. So let's see, iPhone waiting to enter. Someone else is coming into our group. Okay. All right. Hello. We just started. So welcome, welcome. One of my wonderful teachers has been and still is Kathy Skipper, and she's an amazing herbalist, aromatherapist, wise woman. And she says that menopause is not something to be cured, but it's an opportunity for enormous growth. And this couldn't be more true. I've studied with some amazing teachers that have shared their wisdom with me, opened doors that I never thought were even there, and expanded this journey of menopause way beyond hot flashes, way beyond weight gain, way beyond the roller coaster of anxiety and depression, to the richness, the fullness of really stepping into this part of your life. And so that's what I really want to share with you today, this mystery of menopause that has some really interesting cultural roots. It has some myths and misgivings that we'll talk about, and make this a really unique little conversation today. My story and my background, for those of you who are new, who may not have worked with me before, I am a certified aromatherapist, a health coach, a reflexologist, a Reiki practitioner. I have a lot of tools in my little toolbox, but I also am a menopausal woman. And one of the things that really has been part of my experience is that nobody told me what was going to happen. There was no conversation or anything about all of this. And so it left me with a lot of questions, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness. And I decided women shouldn't have to go through this. They should be supported. They should be celebrated. This is a beautiful, wonderful time in your life, right? And so that's how Menopause Success was created. I had studied to be a health coach, and then had written the book Aromatherapy for Menopause Success, because most of my work in aromatherapy were working with women who had hot flashes, who had weight gain, who didn't like the way their skin was changing, who were plagued with anxiety and depression and all of these types of things, painful periods, cysts, lumpy breasts, all those kinds of things. And I worked for Magdalena Upschlacki of Hormones Balance. And I worked with for her for a year as part of her team and learned so much, and just the richness and the depth that it added to my experiences that I share with women now. So that's part of why I'm sharing here. So I'm so happy that everyone's here. I do these little cards, and I did one of my creativity deck cards, and it came up with growth. And I thought, this is so perfect for the group that I'm working with right now. To feel open, willing, and proud of your desire to explore new opportunities for self-development. And really, the years of leading up to menopause are those years that you get to change the narrative of what's been happening with your life, or what you've thought menopause should be or would be or is. So in our time together today, I want to go through some of these historical views of the crone. And I have to say, I really hate that word. I'm embracing it more, but when I first was studying about menopause and having these symptoms, crone just was this really awful word, and it just stuck in my craw like this really bad taste in my mouth. So we'll discover, more about what that is. I think it bears some time to talk about the cultural view of menopausal women, of older women in our society now, and what we can do about changing that narrative. We're going to be going through some ways that you can begin to show up as a wise woman and own it and come into that, and some contemplative questions. And that's sort of my bonus to you today, is that you're going to get in the email after this class, you'll get links to go to the questions that we're going to be going over, so that you can have some time to really contemplate them, to do some self-exploration, and move a little bit closer down that path on the wise woman journey. And then I'm going to give you a super invitation at the end to be part of a growing movement, women's empowerment for women like. How's that sound? Raise your hand, thumbs up. Okay. And we can talk about any questions, any subjects that you want to today about menopause. We can talk about if you're having hot flashes, why you're so bitchy to your spouse, why you don't understand why you have brain fog and forget everything. So we're going to just open up the whole box of crayons and color at random. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about the crone and that aspect. We think of the crone as the stage in a woman's life when she, and this is according to Wikipedia, right? Where she enters menopause, usually around age 50. And in the archetypal language, we refer to as the maiden, the mother, and the crone, which is again that cycle that I was talking about in our opening little meditation grounding. But it embraces the feminine. And I think that's what's been missing in our culture, is that presence of the feminine. I'll open that envelope up a little bit more as we go. And literature describes the crone archetype as a pre-existing form in a collective unconscious that embodies instinctual ways of channeling wisdom, inner knowledge, and intuition, guiding us through the transition of life and going inward to bring forth light for transformation. And I want to really hone in on this, because you, as this woman who has lived decades and decades, right? You have that inner wisdom. You possess that intuition. You have that inner compass that's going to guide you through this transition in life. Even if you're postmenopausal now, you can call up that is lying there waiting to be awakened. There is an inward journey that has to happen to bring forth this light for transformation. And that's what menopause success mastery is really all about, is uncovering this light you know, taking the cloth and clearing off the gunk that's around the light, the flashlight, and shining that deep within to see what is in there that wants to be transformed, what is in there that wants to be brought out. I know you have some dreams in there. I know you have some things that you want to bring forward. Unfortunately, because we've gone from a matriarchal culture way back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, let's call it 14th century, it became more patriarchal. And so the term crone has been abused, really, in describing old and bad-tempered women. And I always think about that movie, Fried Green Tomatoes, where she's in her Volkswagen and she crashes into somebody in the parking lot because she can, damn it, right? And so we get deemed as these bad, old bad-tempered women. But I think, you know, because we have grown up and worked and done our careers in a culture that has been male dominated, we think of the feminine as you have to charge through to get what you want, to get what you need, to take what is yours, right? And it's this very male dominated view about how to work and move around in the world. So what I'm going to ask you to do during this time is to open up a new perspective, take a new sheet of paper out, and think of ways that we can show up as wise women that isn't in that harsh masculine way, that cultural way that we have grown to know. And it's a beautiful unfolding. So in some cultures, there are no words for menopause. It just doesn't exist. It's just a coming of age, just like going into puberty. It's a coming of age, and you're just considered to be the wise woman. So here's the first question I want you to consider. How do you see older women valued in Western culture? And what are some of the words that you would use to describe this? So so the two questions are, how do you see older women valued in Western culture? And what are some of the words that you've heard used or that you've used to describe this? So I'm going to go off of the screen share. Whoops. Uh-oh, did I lose you? Okay, here I am. And I'm going to bring up a whiteboard. And if I can I do this? Maybe. Don't see that I can. Breakout rooms, no. Oh, did I lose my whiteboard feature? That's sad. Okay, not chat. Okay, well, it doesn't look like I can do it. So we're just going to have to make a fun little list. Okay, so you can unmute yourselves and participate in how do you see older women valued in Western culture? And what are some of the words that you use to describe that? Anybody want to go first?
When I think of an older woman, this is Michelle. Hi, everybody. I am thinking of one woman in particular who I think of as a teacher or a mentor.
Okay. So in your experience, you've seen older women as teachers or mentors?
Well, one in particular that I'm thinking.
Okay. All right. What else? I once read an article that, go ahead, Marissa.
No, go ahead. You go.
Okay. I once read an article. There was an article, I can't remember where it was published. It was in some business magazine. And the statistics were in the United States that a woman 50 or older was 50% less likely to be hired than a younger woman for a job.
Really?
And it blew me away. I'm like, what? Yes, 50%. I thought, are you kidding? I've got 50% more experience and knowledge. Of course, I'm forgetful. So, I could forget some of that stuff. So for me, that the experience was that older women didn't have as much value. Older women were less valuable in the workplace. Okay, Marissa?
I was just going to say that I don't see older women being valued very, very much. I don't know if it's my culture, where I live, I value them. I value their, some of the words that I came up with, that, their insightfulness, and I find them very seasoned. And I think there is an element of teachers there. They do teach from experience. Some of them are educated. I find a certain peace to them and a calmness to these older women that I'm thinking about.
I like that peace and calm. It kind of reminds me of my grandmother and how she played such a big part in my young life. And there was that sense of calm. And I mean, we were doing traditional things like cooking, or, she taught me how to make pasta and pasta sauce, and how to tend her roses. But there was always that peacefulness and calm when I was with her. So, I like those words. Thank you. Anybody else?
I can't think of any words, but mother and grandmother. Just because I don't have my mom or grandmother anymore. And I relied on her so much. Whenever I had a question, I always called my mom, just because she'd gone through things that I hadn't gone through yet. And she talked to her mom every day when her mom was alive. And I just think us as mothers, I know not all of us are mothers, and yet I think we all are mothers in a sense. But that's what I think about. It's just mothers and grandmothers, and they're so wise.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what emotions come up for you when you think about older women? What are those emotions that are attached with that?
Just love for them, because in my religion, we have women that come and visit us and watch over us. Like they come and they'll call us like once every a quarter or whatever. And I've had some women that are older than me, and they come into my home and they'll ask how I'm doing, and they're just so wise. And I just I just have grown to love older women, because they are so wise and loving and encouraging. I guess that's the word, is very encouraging, because they've been through things and they can help us. So
May I add
encouraging.
to that?
Yes.
So I feel I come from a long line of strong women on my father's side of the lineage. And I feel that through time, women have been, they didn't have many rights, and they weren't treated fairly in my family. And I think we are all standing upon the previous generation's shoulders. And I just value all of their sacrifice and all of their fighting and all of their, I guess sacrifice is the word, because now I'm the first woman on both sides of my family to be able to graduate from college, you know? So I am very honored that of all of their sacrifice, and I'm standing on the shoulder of their sacrifices, you know, throughout history. So I value those strong women that perhaps couldn't have their dreams materialized in their lifetime,
Yes.
but maybe, you know, are living a little bit. I find that I have a lot of well, this is a safe space for you guys, because I think we're all in the same kind of situation. Yes. I have a lot of downloads, you know, that I know are not part of my own thoughts. And I think it's coming a lot from a lot of places, right? Not only from my ancestors, but I think one of the things that happened that surprised me during this pandemic, like around April, I am not artistic at all. I cannot draw, I cannot paint. I'm more right-brained. So I started getting these desires to paint. And I'm like, but I don't know what I'm doing. But it was very strong. I'm like, but I really don't know anything about color and supplies. But I just got it down. I just needed to buy oil paints and I needed to look at the sky. So I said, okay. So I got Michael's. It took like 6 weeks for the oil paints to come. And I just started painting. And it was amazing. I started to cry because I think somebody's dream was made a reality. And I just let it happen. And I think it might have been, you know, I think it might have been one of my great grandmothers, or, you know, people that were not allowed, that were just had such hard lives, you know. And I just want to bring light to that, and I want to bring gratefulness to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because when you think about, you were in your grandmother's womb because you were the egg in your mother who was in your grandmother.
Right.
So we have these deep, long connections with our lineage. And as wise women, we can call in these ancestors to be with us, to transmute, to transmit, to create this beautiful reciprocity between those generations, because it's our time now. And I can't think of a more beautiful time to be a human being on this planet as a woman, because we have more freedoms, more rights, and more ability to be change makers than any other generation of women. And that's huge.
Huge, huge. My ancestors could only be mothers and wives, you know, and as
Yes.
much as I am a mom,
Yes.
and that's my number one job. I am so grateful that I get to have a career and I get to have my own interests, because I look at my mom and she has no interest of her own. You know, she only lives to take care of her children and her grandchildren and clean her house, you know, and take care of my dad. And I think she's a victim of her era. You know, that was what was being a good wife and a good mom. And I see that, you know, those things, and I am so privileged because I have so many interests, and I've been able to pursue a lot of my interests, and, you know, and she didn't. I don't think she even knew she had a choice, perhaps, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I grew up in the same type of a generation where my mother was a stay-at-home mom, but I think, you know, she had a lot of anger built up behind that, because she wanted more things. She wanted better things. She was a brilliant writer, and she was never able to really, with 4 kids running around, and, you know, how do you find time for yourself to carve out who you are? And as the mother, as the wife, as the, you know, they got lost in that, because that was what was expected, culturally expected. So This is great.
My
Michelle, did
mom
you
is-
have something else that you wanted to add to that?
I was just thinking in the area where I live, a lot of times the older women are considered frail and sickly.
Where do you live, Michelle?
I'm on the northern Oregon coast,
Okay.
but that's also my experience
Yeah,
because
I
my
think that's-
mother was died at 53 of a neurological issue. So she got weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's kind of the experience that I have had.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm going to go back to screen shares. Did everybody feel like they got to say what they needed? I heard teachers and mentors, less valued in the workplace, undervalued in general, insightful, seasoned, educated, loving, encouraging, frail and sickly, peace and calm, sacrifice, as in they've sacrificed so much, and that that ancestral piece of building on the shoulders of our ancestors. Okay, did I hit it all? Okay. All right. It's important because whatever our experience is with how we viewed older women becomes part of our story as we age. Okay, I know that sounds, so here's the other questions that I'll be sending you. When you were growing up, what were your experiences with older adults, especially women? Did you grow up near a grandmother or a great-grandmother? And when you thought of yourself aging, what did you imagine? How did you think that you would feel? Okay, we're going to dive into that one. When you thought of yourself aging, what did you imagine and how did that make you feel? Let's find you up here again. All right, you can unmute. What did you think you were going to be like when you were old?
I never thought that far. I never imagined myself old.
Yeah. What do you think about it now? When you think about being elderly now, what do you think?
I think there's a certain amount of fear.
Yeah.
My life did not go in any way the way I would have wanted or imagined. I'm a widow. I was a widow at 48. So I don't have the love of my life, you know, and I enjoy all the pictures that I see on Facebook of yours, Angela, with your hubby. It brings a lot of like comfort, you know, because it reminds me of my hubby. So at this point, I guess I have some fear of just, you know, not being able to share my heart, and you know, and I guess I know I can do it alone. You know, I could just do it alone, but I don't think I would want to, you know. I'm just starting to go there. I thought I wanted to be
important
alone.
to have community to support us. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I never really imagined other than growing old with him. So I had to change my entire movie, and I don't have a new one. So I don't know how to think about getting old.
Oh, well, we can help you create a new movie. We're movie makers. Movie makers, movers and shakers. That's what we are.
I keep having hot flashes during this. I don't know about you guys, but I got to put my hair up, my hair down, my hair up.
I just think that older age came fast, and I don't want to get old. I just had a birthday. I just turned 60, and
yay, happy birthday.
Yeah, and I don't know. it's like you say, there's a little bit of fear because, you know, what's ahead of us, I guess. And I guess that's kind of part why I wanted to come to this class is how are we as women supposed to take care of ourselves? Like Angela said, no one told us about this stage in life. And I have 3 daughters, and I've kind of told them a little bit about some of the things I've gone through, and I told them that I didn't know that this was happening, and I thought, you know, I don't know, I hope I haven't put fear into my daughters. Just I don't know. Anyway, it's
So do you feel like it's kind of sneaking up on you?
yeah, because I didn't go through, I thought I did really well going, I mean, I'm postmenopausal now, and I had hot flashes, but not really terribly bad. But I think just lately it seems like my hormone levels have been off or something, and or maybe it's the estrogen, progesterone stuff, and I think, well, now what? Will those ever balance out? And you know, will we ever be kind of like normal again? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to say too much. I don't know what I'm talking about. But those are some things that I think about.
Well, I'll tell you what, we get to create the new normal.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Okay.
Yeah. We get to be the co-creators of our new future. That's really exciting to me. So we can bring our hot flashes along with us, or we can figure out what's underneath of those hot flashes.
Oh.
And it can be a really beautiful journey.
That's one word I wanted to say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is about older women, is they're brave. My mother went through cancer, and I call her brave. And I see older people out walking to the store, you know, they have walkers or you know, they can barely walk, and I call those people brave. And I don't know if I could ever be brave like these women. So anyway, that's one word I would say, is they're brave. Yeah. And strong.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll let you talk.
Okay. Michelle, did you want to contribute?
Yeah, I think I'm just in denial every day. Every day is just
yes.
I just remember when I was a little girl, I saw a bumper sticker that said sexy grandma, and I didn't understand what it meant. And now I think I understand, is that, every day I wake up and I think that I'm 30 something, and I realize I'm not. And I'm just like, what's going to happen today? So maybe curiosity. I too don't really have a role model to anybody to ask. And so I feel it really incumbent. I've been sharing my whole journey with my daughters. So I have 4 daughters, but 2 in particular I've been sharing with, because I'm like, if I don't tell you, I may not be around to tell you later. Somebody's going to have to carry this story. And I want to do it. I feel like I'm inspired to be real for their sake, really. Because otherwise I just want to crawl under a rock and spontaneously combust.
I think you hit a great point. This is our chance to get real, right? Because there's no other time. Okay, this is it. This is the third act. We're gonna get our act together. We're gonna do it right. Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
I was thinking about hot flashes, and you're writing it down.
I'm a writer.
I was thinking about. Okay.
You know, I write everything down.
There
like,
was.
I'm sorry.
Good for you. There was. You should see all my notebooks and all my journals and everything, Marissa.
Me too.
I'm a writer too. I was thinking about this Facebook post I saw, and it was about hot flashes. And it said, if it wasn't for hot flashes, I wouldn't be this smoking hot. So when you said the hot grandma, I thought of hot flashes, so that's too funny. All right, we'll go on to some other questions. So just kind of creating this this story about how we view ourselves aging and how we can start to transform that story into how we really, really want to live this next part of our lives. So you're going to be getting these questions in a handout. So you can think about, as a young adult, how did you think of or speak to older women? Were you ever condescending or disparaging? I remember when my mom was like in her 30s and I would thought that she was like super old. And I just remember that really vividly because I was in my mid 30s when I started having some perimenopausal symptoms. And I thought, oh my God, what did my mom go through? And of course, she never talked about it. She just acted really crazy. Were you positive and interested in older women? Is aging a positive thing for you? So these are really good questions to really start asking yourself, diving into, and again, keeping those journal notes about how your experience is. Have you ever looked forward to being older than 50? I just turned 60 as well this year. So I like to, celebrate I was beginning my 7th decade. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of collective experience and wisdom and screw ups too. So I just am trying to embrace it all and then just feel like, how do I really want to show up? How do I want to show up for myself? How do you want to show up for yourself through all of this? And then what were your parents' lives like when they were the age that you are now? Because in my own mind, I feel a lot more healthy and active and vibrant than I remember my mom feeling at that age. Um, you know, did you see their health or their appearance or their attitude? What was that like in your experience, and how did that influence you? What do you feel that you will lose or have lost as you age? I think we have to, and that'll be part of a bigger program that I'm going to offer, is really acknowledging, making peace with the past so that you can move forward in this new dynamic way. And examine your beliefs about loss and gain, and then ask yourself, is this true? Is this really true? And if so, what makes it true? And if it's not, what makes it not true? Because that helps you to start to have a new dialogue with yourself. And that telescopes out to the new dialogues that you have with partners and friends and family and other people. And then at the end, how will it feel to consider all of these questions? Okay, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming, and I'll walk away from my journal and say, I don't want to talk about that. I need to go watch a Netflix thing and binge on that, or I want to go have a cookie, or, so notice that as well. So I want to switch gears a little bit. I've given you those questions that you'll be getting. I want to be real specific about what's happening for you right now. Where do you struggle when it comes to aging and balancing your hormones? What goals do you have for your health through menopause? I know Michelle got a new bike. She and I both have rad power bikes. And I keep telling her, like, I told her like months ago, you need to really get that. You just need to get it. Because this year I'm like 10 miles away from having 1,200 miles on my electric bike. And it has opened up such a new freedom to just get on that thing and go and feel the breeze through my hair and feel like a little girl again and feel like I can do anything. And I'm getting exercise and fresh air. And that was what I needed throughout all this COVID stuff. I needed to get out and feel the wind through my hair, feel like I was still alive. And so, exploring new ways that you can do that, and what your goals are for your health through menopause. And then, like, what advice have you received in the past from family, friends, or medical professionals? I know my experience with information from medical professionals was horrible. Not that there's not good medical professionals out there, but I had a gynecologist once tell me, because I was having troubles with vaginal dryness and just painful sex, and she said, use Crisco. Use Crisco as lube. And I'm like, are you kidding? I wouldn't even bake with that stuff. You want me to use that on my hoo-ha? No way. So, I found a different gynecologist and moved on from that experience. But sometimes I don't think that even they have the answers. I was given a lot of medication that didn't work for me. I was offered to have body parts removed. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just remove that and you'll be all better. It's like, really? I think God put that there for a reason. Can we just do something different? So, you weigh what you've heard from other people and then sit with that and see how that feels for you. What's working for you now? Where do you want to improve? And what obstacles are in the way? Sometimes the obstacles are up here. And we just need to drop from that head space into the heart space, into the void. Sometimes to go to the dark places that we don't want to go to find the light. And then at the end of that little exercise you do for yourself, how will you feel once your hormones are balanced through menopause? What will it look like when there's light at the end of the tunnel? So those are some contemplative things that I'll be sending you in an email to really think on. But let's talk a little bit about what right now in your life, in this moment, is an obstacle for you that's related to menopause. Could be physical, mental, emotional. Michelle?
Yeah, so do the hormones actually balance back out later?
They will. They will never be at the same levels that they were in your 20s and 30s, but they will balance out at a lower level. So what happens a lot, I'll give you the mechanics behind it. When women are going through menopause, they'll have spikes in estrogen. It's like the spark plug wants to still fire, but it only fires once in a while. Okay. And that'll cause a spike, and that'll cause a roller coaster of emotion. And then when that comes back down, you'll have brain fog and you'll be tired. And so that happens where you get those little spikes in estrogen. But all the while, estrogen and progesterone are really dialing down. Now, what's also happening at that same time is that the ovaries, when they're winding down and not producing as much estrogen and progesterone, they're going to hand the baton off, because this is a relay. We're going in for the long haul, right? The relay at this point is it hands the baton off to the adrenal glands, which are going to help make some hormones for you, and to your liver. Your liver is going to produce some estrogen, estradiol. There's 4 different kinds of estrogen in the body, but it's going to take over production of some hormones. And what happens is, if your cortisol levels are off because the adrenals have been tapped out from underlying stress throughout your life, then they're not able to grab the baton as tightly and neatly. And if the liver is congested from toxicity and a lifetime of, different environmental or foods or whatever, even dryer sheets can change your hormone levels, okay? Then it's going to be clogged, and it's not going to grab the baton as easily either. And so you're going to have this like fighting back and forth between the liver, who says, hey, I'm still dealing with your glass of wine that you have every night, and the adrenals like, hey, I'm still dealing with that cup of coffee you have every morning and all of your stress. So that's gonna, once you work out stress management, cleaning up the liver, then that baton is going to be able to pass much more easily. So all of that involves being kind to yourself and all of those other things
Yeah, I think that
that we talk about in the program.
so we have, for me personally, with that issue, then you take the heat, and because of prior injuries, then it's an inflammatory response that I have. And so that then my
Yes.
muscles hurt, and then I get fatigued. So that would be my biggest stressor.
Yes, yes. I see a lot of women who develop fibromyalgia as they're going into perimenopause and menopause. That was my story. I was really misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was perimenopausal. So, yeah. Anybody else? Marissa, what is your number one struggle right now through menopause?
I think it's my weight.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm suffering from anxiety and a little bit of depression, but I think that's mixed with the grief. My husband passed away 5.5 years ago, so I'm a lot better. But when I never had anxiety and depression in my life, and now I think menopause is just making it a little bit worse. But I'm having a hard time managing my weight, which I never had a problem before. And I'm a very active person. I'm an athlete, so I play soccer, and so I started now with the pandemic. I go out every morning. Well, I try to most. This week I did 4 days. Tomorrow will be my 5th. I just go out around 6:30 in the morning. I'm a teacher, so I have to do it before we start school. And now we're remote, so it makes it a little bit easier. And I just walk about 3.5 miles in my neighborhood. I carved out a little circuit thing, and that helps me a lot. But it's the food, and I eat very healthy,
Nice.
but I just can't get back to my weight. I mean, I can do a very restrictive diet and I'll lose some weight, but I want to also enjoy my life. I like food, so
Yes.
so those things are in my way
Yes.
right now.
Well, so knowing that as you enter menopause, it's very normal to hold 5 to 7 extra pounds over your normal weight because your body stores extra estrogen and progesterone in that little 5 pounds to 7 pounds around your middle. Okay. As you age, those hormones are released through those fat cells as you age to help keep those hormones balanced. So you don't want to get like super, super skinny, when you age, because then you don't have any extra stores of hormones to release throughout your life. So get comfortable with just an extra 5 pounds. But if it starts inching higher than that, we look at high cortisol levels. So we've got these dominoes. When cortisol gets high, it tips insulin, and then insulin tips thyroid. And then there's this whole cascade of problems that start. It's why a lot of women are diagnosed with hypothyroidism during menopause or perimenopause. So, or you can become type 2 diabetic or insulin resistant through that. So number one key in menopause is to manage stress levels. If the cortisol is down here, then so is the insulin, and metabolism happens more naturally. Okay. And there's some eating food hacks that you can do as well. So is that helpful information to you? Okay. All right.
I've had
right,
hypothyroidism for years. I've been on medicine
Okay.
for years, so that doesn't help either. But yes, that's helpful. Thank you.
Susie, do you have any comments of what's your biggest concern right now? You have to unmute yourself if you're going to talk. Otherwise, we'll keep going.
Are you talking to me? Oh, Susie. No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Jana.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
I guess I just have been having those heart palpitations, but those just come on and off, and I don't know if it's something's off inside of me or what. But you know what I have found? I'm also on thyroid medicine and have been since I was 39. Is sugar. I have found that I just cannot eat sugar. And when I go off of sugar, I feel a tons better. And I usually have anxiety or depression. And when I'm off of sugar, my brain clears up and I'm happier. I don't have the ups and the downs. And so I find that the sugar is my downfall. So that's something to think about, because I think they say we should have 50 grams or less, or really for women, it should be 25 grams or less of sugar a day. So, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
20 grams is the maximum for sugar. So 5 grams, that's 4 to 5 teaspoons of sugar a day in everything. That includes fruits and anything else you eat. Okay. Anything else over that is stored as fat in the body. So 20 grams of sugar. All
I've also been
right.
off of
Go back to
gluten,
sharing my screen.
and that helped a lot too.
Grains. Yeah,
Grains,
grains.
yeah.
I have, if I'm off of all grains, I do so much better. I get a lot of brain fog when I do grains. So yeah, that's another little hack that you can do with playing around with hormones. Okay. All right. So you're going to get those handouts. So 4 different things that I like to really hone in on is, first of all, achieving the right mindset, right? Regardless of what you've been told by others or what you grew up culturally with. Finding the right mindset as you go through perimenopause gives you the grace and acceptance about the physical and emotional changes that you're experiencing. This is so key. I took up meditation long ago, but I now have a SoundCloud space where I've done some meditations, and I'll send you the link to that as well. Learning to maximize your self-care. We touched on this a little bit earlier. Relaxing in an Epsom salt bath regularly, maybe add some Atlas cedarwood essential oil to that. As Atlas cedarwood is very nourishing energetically as an essential oil. It helps to bring energy to the center and ground you, just like a tree. And so it's really kind of getting you back to your center. And allowing yourself time each day to do some journaling and some reflection. We tend to sort of just bounce from one thing to the next in our busy days. And so it's really important to carve out that time for journaling and reflection. Making peace with your past. Everything that happened yesterday or last decade or in your 30s or whenever is the past. And we have the opportunity every day to open up to a new day with grace and gratitude. And spend some time each day to dream about what you really want the next phase of your life to be filled with. What is that going to be filled with? Is it going to be a new book that you're going to write? Is it going to be being closer to grandkids? Is it going to be traveling? Is it going to be, I don't know, you get to dream it. Creating time to connect with people that you care about and tend those relationships like they're plants in your garden. Nourish them, water them, talk about them, talk to them. Create connection in your life. And listening to your body. It's really important every day. Our bodies are constantly trying to communicate with us, whether that's through pain or pleasure. Listening to your body and what it has to say is so key. I find it really good to keep a food mood journal to track what my body's trying to tell me about the food I'm eating or what I should be eating. And you might be surprised if you suffer from hot flashes. Another way to approach it is ask yourself, what is that burning desire within you that wants to be birthed, that's coming up and saying, hey, pay attention to me. what is that wants to be birthed at this time of your life? You know, that's coming from a deep-seated place, that heat rising. So pay attention to that, like lean into it. We want to stuff it down and push it out and get rid of it, but it's asking you a bigger question. So you have to ask, what is that question that my body's asking me? Or what is it trying to tell me? So those are some of the little pieces that really lead to truly reclaiming your vibrancy. And the last piece of that is to connect with others on the same journey. We are in this together, sisters. And I cherish the many cups of tea that I've had sharing with like-minded women on this journey of menopause. And this year, I had committed to creating a full moon wise woman gathering group here in my community. Michelle has been part of that. And I'm telling you, they're my rock. They're my people. They're the ones that I will go to if I have a problem, or if I want to do a project, or, you know, it's just this beautiful group of women. I suppose we're the range of women in that group are like between 50 and close to 80. And they all have something beautiful to share every time we meet. So that's one way that you can connect again with your community. So this beautiful poem by Annabelle Viscara, "Take off your veil. You are holy, sacred wise woman. You are here. You are the voice we need. And now is your time to guide." So become that wise woman and that guide in your own community, but first for yourself. I have a bigger offering that I'm going to be rolling out after the first of the year. It is a full menopause success mastery course. It's going to be a 9-month personalized, transformative blueprint for you to become a wise woman. We're going to have monthly live classes that cover every aspect of menopause, even the juicy bits like sex. And we're going to do weekly inspirational emails and support back and forth. You have access to me 24/7 for questions, aha moments, struggles, everything. We'll have a private Facebook group to learn and share in, worksheets and contemplative questions, much like what you're going to be getting in your email here, guided meditations with recordings. I do a hormone balance detox, so we're going to be pulling some components from that so that you can get some nice balancing meals and meal plans and recipes that are going to help you on this journey. I do aroma point therapy, so we're going to be doing some of those protocols and guides in each module, so you'll get familiar with that. And even if you don't have any experience with essential oils, it'll be fun to explore the vibrational medicine of plants in a new and different way. And then you'll have lifetime access to all of these course materials. So this is providing you with a deeper connection with yourself, a clear vision of what you want for the next chapter of your life, the ability to set healthy boundaries. Gosh, I know so many women who, including myself, who are still learning to set healthy boundaries because we've been, you know, had to tend and help and do for other people for so much of our lives. It's going to give you more energy, improve your mood, and even help you lose some weight. How does that sound? Like the dream program? Yeah. So because you've been part of this free class, you'll have the opportunity to get $200 off the full cost of the program. In addition, if you sign up before the 21st of December, you get a 1-hour menopause success private coaching session with me to help figure out where you're at, where you want to go. You'll get a signed copy of my book, Aromatherapy for Menopause Success. And if you already have that, we can I can send you a product instead, or you can get the book and gift it to someone else. You'll get unlimited access also to my online program, Aromatherapy, Your Gateway to Happy Hormones, which is a fun little course to help you dive in. So those are bonuses that are worth $425, which is super cool. And I want to leave you with a quote by Lucy H. Pierce. In order to reclaim our full selves, to integrate each of us, these aspects through which we pass over the course of our lives, we must first learn to embrace them through their cycle. And this is a beautiful picture of an actual real tree that happened to grow in this beautiful feminine form. And I think nature keeps speaking to us, whether it's through essential oils or foods or a sunset or a bike ride, that we are embracing all of these cycles of life. So I created Menopause Success Mastery not only to support women as we go through the challenges of menopause, but to celebrate the beauty and the power in each one of you and redefine what it means to be an aging woman in our society. We get to rewrite the script. And we'll do it together, starting right here. Are you ready to explore some new possibilities? Are you ready to dive into a space of deep connection, mutual respect, inspiration, and creative collaboration? Because that's what I'm all about. And I like to surround myself with other girls, other women who are all about that too. So, choice, chance, and change. We have to make a choice to take a chance, or our lives will never change, right? And I know so many times on this journey, we get stuck. We feel stuck. We are stuck. We need help getting unstuck. All of those kinds of things. And I want to be there for you. I want to thank you. I also want to honor your time. We've gone over a little bit, but you'll be getting a link to check out the full program. I'm just starting to build it on the platform. You can use the code EMPOWER to join before December 21st to take advantage of the bonuses. I also have a Facebook group called Menopause Success, and you can go there and we can chat back and forth, and you can post different insights and things from the questions that you'll be getting. And then there will be a separate Facebook group for those, the paid students in the mastery class. But I have a general Facebook group called Menopause Success. So you can look for that on Facebook if you're on Facebook. So is there any other questions that I didn't get to, or that you have a burning desire to have answered before we're done? I've so enjoyed our time together.
How much is the program, Angela?
The full program is $895. So the $200 off brings it to $695, which with the $200 off, that's like $77.22 a month. That's like less than a gym membership, right? Right. I also have some other ways that you can pay. You can do a 3-pay, or you can pay monthly. The monthly rate is $105. So $100 a month to invest in your education, in your rejuvenation, in your, personal development. Yeah, I know I take so many different courses from different teachers, and I have to say, I always come away with something that I can learn, that I've taken in personally, but also something that I share with everyone through my practice. Yeah. So, any other questions? Yay. Thanks for being here with me tonight.
Thank you.
Look for an email. It'll come either later tonight or the morning. All right. Cheers, okay, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.